Let me tell you something. You've been through storms nobody saw. You've cried in silence when the world kept laughing. You smiled in front of the world, but inside you were breaking into pieces. Let me tell you something right now. That pain, it ends here. That cycle, it breaks today. That version of you who kept getting hurt, ignored, abandoned, used, walked on, that version is gone. Today a new you is rising. You've spent too long letting people have access to your peace. Too long allowing people to hurt you just because you love them. Too long blaming yourself for the way they treated you. But let me ask you something real. When did you decide that your worth would be measured by the ones who couldn't see it? When did you start believing that broken people had the right to break you too? Listen to me. Nobody and nothing will ever hurt you again. Because starting now, you're no longer giving them the power to do so. You see, healing doesn't mean the pain never happened. It means the pain no longer controls your decisions. It means the past doesn't get to write your future. It means you can stand tall with your scars and say, this happened, but it didn't end me. You didn't survive everything you've been through to stay in chains. You didn't cry all those nights just to let another careless soul tear you down again. You've earned your freedom. And that freedom begins with this truth. Not everyone deserves access to you. You've been giving your peace away for far too long. Not because you were weak, but because you were loyal. Because you loved with your whole heart. Because you believed in people even when they gave you every reason not to. You tolerated the disrespect. You made excuses for their behavior. You convinced yourself maybe they're just going through something. Or maybe I'm too sensitive. But deep down you felt it. You knew they were draining your spirit. You knew they were disturbing your peace. And still you stayed. Still you tried to fix it. Still you put them before you. That ends now. You're no longer a sacrifice for people who wouldn't even lift a hand to help you. You're no longer going to bleed emotionally for those who can't even say I'm sorry. That season of constantly being on edge, feeling small, walking on eggshells, begging for basic respect, that season is over. When you give people your peace, you give them your power. And when they hold your power, they can control you without even trying. That's why you're taking it back. That's why you're cutting off the access. That's why you're protecting your soul like your life depends on it. Because it does. You are not obligated to entertain chaos just because it's familiar. You're not here to fix grown people who refuse to fix themselves. You are not required to carry burdens that were never meant to be yours. What they did to you wasn't your fault. But what you allow from this point on is your responsibility. Every time you say yes to things that disturb your peace, you're saying no to your own growth. Every time you allow toxic energy into your space, you're delaying your healing. So now you choose peace. You choose silence over arguments. You choose solitude over fake company. You choose truth over manipulation. Let them call you selfish, cold, distant. Let them talk because they don't know what it cost you to get here. They don't know how many nights you cried. They don't know how you had to rebuild yourself piece by piece just to keep breathing. Your peace is not up for negotiation anymore. Your healing isn't on the table for compromise. The moment you stop trying to be everything for everyone, that's the moment you start becoming everything for yourself. And that version of you, that version is unstoppable. It used to be easy to let people in. You'd open your heart like a door without a lock. You'd welcome everyone, friends, lovers, even strangers. With the best parts of you, you'd give them comfort, support, attention, care. But now you see, some people only came to take. Some came just to feed off your light, while offering nothing in return. They didn't care how drained you felt, as long as they felt better. And you kept giving. You kept loving them harder, thinking maybe that would change things. But it didn't. It just left you empty. It left you lost in a crowd of people who only showed up when they needed something. So now you're learning the art of silence, the power of walking away without announcing it. The strength in choosing your peace over fake love, over shallow friendships, over one-sided loyalty. You're not angry, you're just finally awake. You're not cold. You're finally aware. Your eyes are open now. And once you see what someone really brings into your life, chaos or calm, you can no longer pretend. It doesn't matter, it matters. And from now on you matter more. The old you would have apologized for setting boundaries. The old you would have second-guessed your feelings. The old you would have given second, third, fourth chances to people who never deserved the first. But not anymore. Not now. Now you understand that boundaries aren't walls. They're bridges to your peace. They're reminders that you don't have to be available for everyone every time. You're not a lifeline. You're not a fixer. You're not responsible for how others react to your growth. Let them call you different. Let them say you've changed. That's exactly the point. Growth is painful, but staying the same is lethal. You were dying in spaces where you couldn't speak your truth. You were suffocating in environments where being yourself was too much. So you shrank, you silenced yourself. You hid parts of your soul just to fit in. But now you're done. You're done shrinking for people who couldn't even reach your level. You're done making yourself small so others don't feel insecure. You're done being hurt and calling it love. And now you walk differently, not with arrogance but with alignment. Because peace is not a place you find, it's a choice you protect. And that peace, it's priceless. It's waking up without anxiety, it's laughing without guilt, it's resting without fear of being judged, it's being alone and not feeling lonely. That kind of peace is what you've been fighting for. And if you have to lose people to gain it, then let them go. If you have to distance yourself to preserve it, then create space. If you have to be misunderstood to maintain it, so be it. Because once you taste peace after years of chaos, you stop tolerating anything that threatens it. You stop answering calls that come with drama. You stop replying to messages that drain your spirit. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop trying to be the hero in stories where you're only cast as the villain. That version of you, the peacemaker who keeps getting hurt, is gone. This new version walks away early, leaves conversations that feel heavy, doesn't show up where they're not respected. You owe it to yourself to protect your spirit. You owe it to the younger you who cried and didn't know why. You owe it to the future you who deserves rest. People will question you when you change. They'll say you're acting strange, that you've got an attitude now. But what they don't realize is that it's not attitude, it's awareness. You finally realized your peace is not a group project. It's not for discussion. It's not up for approval. You don't need validation to live in your truth. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing your mental health. Let them misunderstand. Let them call you distant. Let them gossip, because if they truly valued you, they'd respect your boundaries. They'd honor your peace. They wouldn't force you to choose between them and your well-being. But when people see they can no longer manipulate you, they'll label your peace as a problem. Let them. It just means you're healing. It just means you're growing. You don't have to fight them, argue with them, or prove anything. Your energy speaks louder than words, and when your peace becomes your priority, everything else gets clearer. You see people's intentions, you recognize patterns, you feel your strength. You no longer walk in confusion, and you walk in clarity. There was a time when your silence was mistaken for weakness. They thought because you didn't speak up, you were okay. Because you kept smiling, you weren't hurting. But you were. You just hid it well. You kept it together because you had no other choice. Because if you broke down, everything else around you would fall apart too. But now your silence is strength. Now your distance is protection. Now your no is final. You don't need to explain the storms you've weathered. You don't need to share every wound to be taken seriously. You just need to live like your peace is sacred, and it is. You've learned how to keep your heart soft, but your boundaries solid. You've learned how to walk away with love, but with clarity. You've learned that people don't have to hurt you twice for you to get the message the first time. And now you're no longer a victim of other people's chaos. You're not caught in emotional whirlwinds that aren't yours. You're standing firm, calm, unbothered because you finally understand that real power is found in peace. Don't feel guilty for needing space. Don't feel bad for protecting your energy. You've been taught to feel shame for putting yourself first, but no more. Self-care is not selfish. Saying no is not rude. Protecting your peace is not mean. You don't owe anyone 24/7 access to your soul. You've been there giving, sacrificing, holding space for everyone but yourself. And what did it leave you with? Exhaustion, confusion, resentment? Not anymore. You're reclaiming your time, your space, your energy. You're choosing environments that feel like growth, not war zones. People who pour into you, not bleed you dry. You're learning to sit with yourself and actually enjoy your own company, to be alone and still feel full. Because peace isn't just the absence of noise. It's the presence of self. And once you discover it, you'll never again tolerate what you used to. You're not better than anyone. You're just finally better to yourself. And that's where the shift happens. That's where the transformation begins. There's nothing wrong with having a soft heart. There's nothing wrong with loving deeply. But now you love with wisdom. You give with awareness. You help with discernment because while your heart is still pure, your mind is now sharp. You don't offer your peace to people who abuse it. You don't sit at tables where your voice has to compete to be heard. You don't stay in rooms that make your soul feel small. You've been burned enough to know what fire feels like. You've cried enough to know the cost of ignoring red flags. And now you listen to that voice inside, that gut feeling, that intuition that whispers, protect your peace. You've learned the hard way that peace doesn't come from people. It comes from within, and once it's built inside you, nobody can take it away unless you hand it to them. So you no longer hand it over. Not to family, not to friends, not to lovers. If it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. Period. Every step you take now is intentional. Every move is protective. You walk different now, not because you're bitter, but because you're wise. You speak less, observe more, you react less, reflect more. You invest in people who match your energy. You give your time where it's respected. You allow love that feels safe. The chaos they once brought into your life, that's no longer your environment. That's not your atmosphere anymore. You are building a life that feels like peace, not pain. A life where your smile is real, not a mask. A life where your quiet moments are peaceful, not anxious. That's the life you deserve. That's the life you're creating. No more bending, no more breaking, no more burning out for people who wouldn't light a match to help you. You're standing strong now, centered, grounded, at peace. And the most powerful version of you, the one nobody can hurt, is the one who protects that peace like it's the very breath in your lungs. You've let too many people get too close for too long. People who didn't value you. People who saw your heart as an open door instead of a sacred place. People who mistook your kindness for weakness, your loyalty for blind obedience. And they took your time, your peace, your energy, your spirit. And you kept giving because that's who you are. You're a giver, a healer, a light in a dark world. But even light has limits, even the sun has boundaries. Not everyone who knocks deserves to come inside. Not everyone who smiles deserves your trust. Not everyone who shows up deserves your seat at your table. You've got to start asking yourself, what are they bringing to the table besides appetite? Because if all they do is eat and leave you empty, they were never guests. They were robbers. And the truth is, you've been robbed for years of time, of peace, of emotional stability. But now you're changing the locks. You're guarding your gates. You're checking the fruit before you let the tree grow. Because access to you is not a right, it's a privilege. And not everyone qualifies. You were raised to be open, to give, to forgive, to love unconditionally. And somewhere along the line, you started believing that meant letting people walk all over you, that being good meant being available, that being kind meant tolerating disrespect. But you're learning now. You're growing now. You've seen the damage that comes from open doors with no boundaries. You've felt the emotional exhaustion of giving to those who only take. You've lived through betrayal disguised as friendship, manipulation dressed up as love. And now you're done. You're done explaining your value, done proving your worth, done making yourself small to make others comfortable. From this moment forward, access to you must be earned, not begged for, not demanded, not guilted into, earned through consistency, through respect, through truth. You've watered too many dead plants, hoping they'd bloom. Now, you only pour into what grows, what pours back, what breathes life into you, not just drains it out. Because your spirit is sacred, your energy is expensive, your peace is priceless. And you're no longer letting anyone come in and leave trash on your soul. The people who deserve access to you will never make you question your value. They won't make you feel like you're too much. They won't gaslight your emotions or weaponize your love. They'll show up with open hearts, not hidden agendas. But too many times you've settled for less. You kept giving chances, kept turning the other cheek, kept hoping they'd change, and they never did. They just got more comfortable hurting you. And you got more numb, more tired, more confused, wondering why your love wasn't enough. But it was. It always was. They just weren't meant to hold it. They didn't have the capacity. They didn't have the character. And now that you've finally seen that, you're no longer accessible to everyone. Let them wonder. Let them talk. Let them say, you've switched up. Yes, you did. You've upgraded. You've evolved, and evolving means not everyone gets to come. Some people are only part of your history, not your destiny. Some were just chapters, not the whole story. And the ones you outgrow, let them go. That's not cruelty. That's clarity. You've spent too many nights overthinking, wondering if you were too distant, too cold, too unavailable. But the truth is, you were just reacting to being stretched too thin. You were responding to the exhaustion of being emotionally available to people who never truly saw you. People who only called when they needed something, who only showed up when it was convenient. You were available to everyone but supported by no one. That's not balance, that's bondage. You've realized now that your presence is powerful, that your love heals, that your words lift, that your heart restores. And because of that, you must be selective, because the wrong people will exploit that power. They'll take your loyalty and turn it into a leash. They'll take your softness and try to manipulate it. So, you've learned the word no. You've embraced the art of silence. You've discovered the strength in being unavailable. And not because you're bitter, but because you're better. Better at protecting your soul. Better at setting boundaries. Better at honoring yourself. And the moment you stop giving everyone access is the moment you finally start breathing. There's a weight that lifts off your chest when you realize you don't owe everyone a response. You don't owe everyone your time. You don't owe everyone your presence. The people who genuinely care about you will never make you beg for basic respect. They won't take offense when you need space. They won't guilt trip you into connection. And if they do, that's your sign. That's your exit cue. You've become too spiritually aware to tolerate emotional gain. You've healed too much to return to dysfunction. You've prayed too hard to go back to what broke you. So now you walk differently. You speak with intention. You protect your energy the way a lion guards its territory. And if someone doesn't understand that, let them be confused. You no longer explain your boundaries to people who benefit from you having none. You don't defend your peace to people who are comfortable in your chaos. You've moved on quietly, powerfully, and every day you stay grounded in that decision. You become more unshakable, more free, more you. Your availability used to be your downfall. You were always there. Texting back, picking up calls, showing up, giving, fixing, helping. And what did you get in return? Often silence, often disrespect, often nothing. But now you understand your time is valuable. Your heart is rare. Your presence is a gift, and not everyone gets to unwrap it. Some people only want proximity to your glow, not responsibility for your pain. They want your peace, your strength, your wisdom, but they don't want to give anything back. So now you ask different questions. Do they pour into me? Do they reciprocate? Do they respect the access they've been given? And if the answer is no, you close the door. Not out of spite, but out of love. Love for yourself, because you're no longer available for connections that leave you empty, no longer accessible to people who treat you like an option. You're not being rude, you're being responsible with your soul, with your time, with your energy. And that shift, that's everything. You've outgrown the need to explain your glow. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you're unavailable. You're not cold, you're not arrogant. You're just focused. Focused on healing. Focused on protecting what you've built inside. Focused on walking with purpose. And in this season, not everyone fits. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some connections were only designed for who you used to be, not who you're becoming, and that's okay. Growth requires separation. Healing demands solitude. Transformation demands discipline. And if keeping your peace means keeping your distance, then so be it. The old you needed people to feel whole. The new you needs peace to feel alive. You no longer accept crumbs. You're waiting for the full meal, or you're not eating. And when you walk like that, you attract people who see your worth, not just your usefulness. People who want to understand your mind, not just borrow your energy. People who want to build with you, not break you. That's what access is about now. Alignment, not attention. You can't keep letting people who haven't done the work with themselves walk freely through your mind and heart. You've worked too hard to heal. You've gone too deep to be surface level again. You've learned what real connection feels like, and you've learned what manipulation smells like. And now you don't ignore the signs, you don't second guess the red flags, you don't romanticize potential. You honor patterns because history repeats when you let it. And access, real access, is based on history, not just chemistry. They can smile sweet, say all the right things, play all the right games, but your spirit knows. And when your peace feels uneasy around someone, listen. That's your inner self guarding your gates. That's discernment. And this time, you're listening. You're done letting people walk in and out of your life like it's a convenience store. If they want in, they better bring more than words. They better bring consistency, effort, truth, where they can keep walking. Because not everyone deserves access, not to your time, not to your soul, not to your story. The most powerful thing you'll ever do is stop begging to be chosen. You'll stop waiting for people to see your worth. You stop chasing closure. You stop explaining your heart because you finally realize you are the prize. You are the access point. You are the source of energy, love, insight, and peace. And anyone who gets near that must be qualified. You're not lonely, you're selective, you're not bitter, you're building, you're not distant, you're discerning. You're operating on a higher level now, one where your soul takes priority, one where your joy is protected, one where your circle gets smaller but your peace gets louder. And when people ask what happened to you, tell them this: you healed. You realize not everyone gets a front row seat in your life. Not everyone deserves backstage access to your heart. You stopped being a people pleaser and started becoming your own protector. That's power, that's peace, that's the real you, healing. It doesn't come with a magic eraser. It doesn't wipe the memories away. It doesn't undo the betrayal, the heartbreak, the trauma. It doesn't delete the moments that broke you into pieces. But what it does do, it rewrites the story. It puts the pen back in your hand. See, for a long time, pain was the narrator. Pain told you who you were. Pain told you your value. Pain told you you'd never rise, never trust again, never love again. But healing comes in and says, no, let's flip the page. Healing doesn't lie about what happened. It doesn't pretend the scars aren't there, but it changes the meaning. It takes what was meant to destroy you and turns it into something that strengthens you. That loss you thought would crush you, it taught you how to breathe deeper. That betrayal you thought you'd never recover from, it taught you how to spot fakes from a mile away. The pain is real, but it doesn't own you anymore. It's no longer the headline of your life, it's just a chapter. And healing is how you finish the story with power, not pity. There was a time you didn't know how to talk about what hurt. You just carried it in your body, in your smile, in the way you shut down when people got too close. You laughed on the outside, but you were bleeding inside. Because the world doesn't always give you room to fall apart. It wants you to move on before you've even had time to process. So you buried it. The heartbreak, the disappointment, the abandonment, you wore it like invisible armor. Strong on the outside, shattered on the inside. But healing doesn't ask you to pretend. Healing invites you to feel, to scream, to cry, to sit in the truth of what happened without letting it define who you are. It says you don't have to carry this alone anymore. And little by little, that heavy burden starts to lift. Not because it disappeared, but because your spirit grew strong enough to carry it differently. The pain's still there, but now you're in control. You decide how the story ends. And maybe that pain didn't make you stronger right away, but it made you real. It made you deep. It made you you. See, healing isn't a straight line. It's a dance between breakdowns and breakthroughs. Some days you feel invincible. Other days you feel like the wound just reopened. And that's okay. That's healing. It's not about pretending the pain never existed. It's about no longer being a prisoner to it. There were times you thought you'd never feel normal again, like the version of you before the pain was gone forever. But healing whispers, that version wasn't your final form anyway. You're becoming someone deeper, wiser, more compassionate, more alert. You don't let just anyone near your heart now. You listen more. You protect your peace. And even though the scars still sting, sometimes they don't control you anymore. You've taken your story back. You've learned how to breathe again. Not because the air got lighter, but because you got stronger. That's healing. It's rewriting your story in your own voice. No longer the voice of pain. No longer the voice of shame. Just the voice of truth. And the truth is, you're still here. You made it. You didn't break. You bent. You bled. But you didn't break. Sometimes the most powerful thing healing gives you is the ability to look back without crumbling. To look at the moments that crushed you and say, yeah, that happened, but I'm still standing. That's not weakness. That's victory. See, pain tried to make you bitter. It tried to harden your heart, but you chose healing. And now, you understand healing was never about forgetting what happened. It was about no longer letting it control who you become. Everything you went through, pain, the silence, the betrayal, the loneliness, it all shaped you, but it does not define you anymore, because